Friends, so you should have your I Fall Down story, and do me a favor real quick, put your name on the top of this. That way, if we find any later, we know whose it is. And then you should also have your I Fall Down graphic organizer. Let's put our name on the top of this as well. All right, so you should have already watched your author's purpose video. Remember, there's 3 reasons that an author writes a text. It's either to entertain you, so usually that's when they're telling you a story, they're trying to make you laugh, maybe, make you feel certain emotions, to inform you, so they're trying to teach you about something, or to persuade you, maybe they're trying to get you to do something. So, as we read I Fall Down, we're going to keep an eye out and try to figure out what the author's purpose is, and we're going to look for clues that tell us this. So, you should be tracking and reading along with me. You can either use your reading toolkit or you can just use your finger to track. I Fall Down by Vicki Cobb, illustrated by Julia Gorton. Know what happens when you trip? You fall down. Turn the page. Know what happens when you spill your milk? It drips down. Throw a ball up into the air. Watch what happens. It goes up for a short time, then falls down. Try tossing other things up in the air. Your mom's keys, a block. When something falls, which way does it fall? Does it ever fall up? Now they're asking us a lot of questions. Interesting. Maybe they're trying to figure out what we already know. Know what makes things fall? It's a force called gravity. As long as you are on Earth, you can't get away from it. Gravity is always pulling things. Know which way? Down, down, down. You can see how gravity pulls. Take a spoonful of molasses or honey and point the spoon down so that the goo dribbles back into the jar. Watch it drip. The goo stretches and gets longer and longer. It looks like a ribbon streaming into the jar. Gravity pulls the molasses from the spoon back into the jar. So, you know what I notice? It's kind of explaining gravity to us because it thinks, oh, maybe you don't know what gravity is. So I'm going to explain it to you. Let's see. Let's write in our clue box. The author explains gravity. Author explains gravity. All right, let's turn the page and let's keep reading. Let's find more clues about what the author's purpose might be. Ready? Do some things fall faster than others? Try it and see. Hold a penny and a key in one hand. Open your hands so they both start falling at the same time. Listen and watch as they hit the floor. Did either the penny or the key win the race? Or was it a tie? Things fall so fast it's hard to tell if there is a winner or a loser. Have lots of dropping races. But no matter whether the objects are big or small, it seems that it's always a tie. The only time when you have a clear loser is when you drop something that the wind could easily blow away, such as a feather or a tissue. You see if air fighting gravity only with very light objects. If there was no air, you would find that gravity pulls everything at the same speed. Astronauts proved this on the moon when there was no air. Every dropping race was a tie. Amazing but true. Does everything land with the same force? Or do some things hit harder than others? Here's a way to find out. Have someone drop a dry sponge into your hand from about a foot above it. Next, try a small bar of soap. Which hits your hand harder, the sponge or the soap? Try dropping lots of things into your hand. Soon you will discover that some things hit harder than others. Now hold the bar of soap in one hand and the sponge in the other. Which is heavier, the sponge or the soap? Move your hands up and down to feel the difference. Your hands stop the sponge from the soap and the soap from falling to the ground. But you can still feel gravity's pull on the soap and sponge when you hold them in your hands. The pull is called weight. You can see if one object is heavier than another without letting either of them fall. Here's how. Get two rubber bands the same size. Tie one of your shoes to one rubber band. Tie one of your parents' shoes to the other rubber band. Lift both shoes by the rubber bands. Which rubber band stretches more? The heavier shoe stretches the rubber band more. Each rubber band acts like a scale to measure weight. Your weight is a measure of how hard you fall when you fall down. How much do you weigh? 98, 85, 167, 48, 91, 225. How much does your mother or father weigh? The more you weigh, the harder you fall. But you don't have to fall in order to weigh yourself. A scale tells you how hard you fall without you falling at all. So simply get on a scale. Yay! So you know what I noticed? He was telling us about a lot of ways to try to test gravity and ways that we could experiments almost. So the author shared experiments about gravity. The author shared experiments about gravity. So, I don't think they were trying to entertain us because they weren't really telling us a story, were they? No, and what they were talking about wasn't fiction. I don't think they were trying to persuade us because they weren't trying to tell us, they weren't saying, oh, you have to do this, or they weren't giving us reasons. So I really think they were trying to inform us. And what was it they were trying to inform us about again? What did we talk about? Right, about gravity. So the author's purpose was to inform about gravity. All right, so then we're going to go ahead and you're going to turn this paper in with your name on it, as well as the two other papers you got from your from the substitute. You're going to put this into your purple folder because we're going to need this tomorrow when we go over the questions. And then you can either read a book at your desk or do a handwriting packet.